Hello, my name is Eve. I like to talk about disturbing books and recommend them to you. Today I'm going to be talking to you about 5 extreme horror books or disturbing books that you can read in one sitting. I read all of these in one sitting. I could not put them down. Another great thing about these books is that they're all by indie authors, which I always love supporting indie authors. So grab a drink, get settled in, and let's talk about some books. Today I'm drinking a Celsius. I feel like I'm on crack. So the first book I'm going to be talking about, which I feel like is going to be a great book for summertime right now, is called Summer Never Ends, and it's by Judith Sonnet. This is what it looks like. Following Tanner, and he's going to like a church camp, Bible camp thing, and he really doesn't want to be there. Luckily, he was able to make 2 friends, and they're taking him to a cabin that's in the woods that no one else really knows about. It's called the Honeymoon Lounge, and they take him there to show him some naked magazines, and upon opening the door, they see a boy tied up in a chair, beat almost to death. And when they realize who is in that chair and who put that boy in the chair, that's when things get really messy and all the boys get captured. I did not know where this story was going to go. It kept me at the edge of my seat. I was shook. Absolutely amazing. The next book is called This All Ends Horribly by Mike Salt. This book gives off like cabin in the woods, Evil Dead type stuff. I devoured it. It was so much fun. Friends are coming home from like a vacation and they go to their house. All the friends go to one of their friends' houses for like a pit stop to separate their stuff and all this shit. Anyway, as soon as they walk in the door, something seems off and they find like dead bodies in the kitchen hanging on meat hooks, and the next thing you know, they blink and everything's back to normal. And then shit gets crazy. They each get picked off one by one, and they're going through these like trials and tribulations, and it was crazy. Absolutely crazy. If you're a fan of Cabin in the Woods and Evil Dead, it was giving that. It was so much fun. I did not see where it was going to go at all. The next book I'm going to be talking about is called Population Zero, and this is by Wrath James White. Wrath James White is such a well-known author, I feel like, in the horror community, but this has to be one of my favorite books that I've read by him so far. Following our main character, Todd, and he works at a welfare center, so he approves and denies people's abilities to get on certain benefits. And he is an environmentalist, he's vegan, he rides his bike to work, and he reads this article about how the world's population is doing more harm to the world than most things. So he gets this idea in his head that he needs to help out the environment through controlling this overpopulation. So when people come in trying to get certain benefits, he kind of pushes them towards, getting rid of their unborn kids. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, the word for that. You know what I'm talking about, hopefully. And he takes it upon himself to force sterilization onto people. It gets messy, he gets in over his head, it gets wild. I thought this was such a fascinating book. Again, I read it in one sitting. Fucking crazy. And it's also crazy because I was vegan for a very, very long time, and I had some of the same ideals. Not the forced sterilization or anything like that, but like his thought process sometimes, I was like, damn, did I sound like that when I was like really into my we need to make the world a better place type phase? Now I just feel like we're all doomed. The next book I'm going to be talking about is called Sadist by Lucas Mangum. I'm going to be so transparent right now. I bought this book because of the cover. Because look at that. I read this book yesterday, and when I finished it, this, if you've read Negative Space and like Paradise Rot and stuff like that, I feel like this falls into those categories on Book Talk where it's like, this book would make a great A24 film. If you love the A24 vibes, This is very culty and very, like, I don't know, it was just beautifully written. This book, we're following our main character, and she's being abused by her dad. And so one day, in order to get her dad to stop, like, hitting her, she kind of makes herself available to him, like starts pleasuring herself in front of him to kind of coerce him into sleeping with her. So they start this relationship where they are sleeping together, and the mom is like kind of aware that this is going on, but it stopped the dad from hitting the daughter. There's this like unsaid rule between the dad and the daughter that, you know, he's allowed to do this to her, so therefore she is allowed a little bit more freedom, but also she only belongs to him. Like she does not do anything else sexual with anybody else but him. She gets pregnant, and she decides to run away to give her baby a better life. And she decides to start like selling herself, trying to make ends meet, you know, just on the run, kind of being homeless and all this other stuff. She gets hit by a car. And then this cult like picks her up and takes her to paradise or whatever, and they mend her back, they make her all better, and then she realizes very quickly that the cult is even worse. Like, it's bad. It's really bad. And the cult leader is fucking weird, and it gets really messy really quick, but it is beautifully written. Read you this little bit. This is just a taste. It says, "Knife held to throat, I am feminine power embodied, baptized in holy fire, sanctified with no help from any god." Ugh, that shit goes hard. The next book I recommend, When I Die by Asher Dark. I actually had the opportunity to go hang out with Asher because she lives not too far from me, so I hung out with her and another author, and it was so much fun. They're so great. All the authors that I've mentioned, I've talked to all of them, and they've all been super sweet, super nice. I think I've talked to all but maybe 2, really. Amazing people so far. Love it. But this book threw me for a loop. I was not expecting it to be as grotesque and disgusting and crazy, and I loved it. In this story, we're following our main character, and she is around 20, and she was raised by a man who isn't related to her in the middle of nowhere. She can't read, and she can't really fend for herself. She's only known Hank, her captor, who has raised her and like taken care of her, but also he is her abuser. And Hank has a barn with a bunch of cages, but he doesn't keep farm animals in there. He keeps humans, because like the sheriff will come or someone will come and like drop off a lady for him, and he'll hold her captive and do whatever he wants to her before cutting up her meat to go sell in town. And our main character takes part in this as well. She cuts the meat off the bodies and all that stuff, until one day one of the captives that came to be put in one of the cages is so gorgeous to our main character that she doesn't want to do the usual stuff that she does. I mean, she still takes advantage of our captor and everything, but she doesn't want to kill her off. And when we find out who it is, it's just heartbreaking. It was crazy. I cannot wait to read more by this author, but if you have any more recommendations for me, leave a comment, like this shit, and I'll see you next time.